Hi everyone, Sean Malone, Crisis Response International. Hello Cry family. This is the end of the year briefing for all of what we've accomplished this year. It's been really an amazing year. Lots of challenges, but God has been so faithful. You guys out there, Cry Responders, I just wanted to take a few moments and just kind of give you a briefing to our partners, our friends, and maybe some of you who are looking to get involved with Cry this year. We had an amazing year in terms of events up at the Cry base and across the nation. We started the year with our Trailblazers School. We had a Bible encounter. We did a week of experiencing the Father's embrace. We had supernatural ministry training, thriving in missions. We had a Connect Up training, which is about member care and how to care for one another's hearts and see one another get set free. It was an amazing tool. We're going to be having another one soon. I'll talk about that in a moment. We had Justin Perry come and also Corey Stark. We had a week of prophetic evangelism and Forerunner Messengers. We had a great chaplain intensive. Our chaplaincy program is growing as we're certifying and ordaining chaplains. It was a great year for that as well. We also had our Thriving in Perilous Times, how to build places of refuge and how to create places of safety and personal preparedness. We also did a tactical defense training class, which was firearms training for those who have interest in those certain skills. That was a great week. We had Glenn Smithson out from Kansas City. It was a wonderful time. We had a boot camp up at the base as well, and then we also had Morningstar come up and do their MSU boot camp. And then lastly, we had the ATS Extreme Destinations and Hostile Environments. We had an absolute blast, literally, where we were taught how to treat bomb blast injuries for terrorist events, gunshot wounds, some crazy simulations. We had a Navy SEAL come out. And everybody got waterboarded. It was an adventurous time for everybody. Cry, we're always trying to push the limits and just trying to think forward in terms of the threats that people could be facing. Obviously, as we're sending people to dangerous destinations, we want people to be able to be safe. We want to be able to take care of people. We want to keep our mission on tact. But a couple of upcoming events that we have coming up. We have a deployment to the Cry base. It's called Operation Begin Again. That's going to be January 25th through February 1st. We'll have information coming out on that. We'd love for Cry Responders to come up, reconnect, work on some projects on the base with us, and have some times of fellowship, great meals, and also some personal ministry as well. February 24th through the 26th, we're going to have a winter survival challenge where we're going to do a winter hike and we're going to stay overnight up in the mountains. It's going to be a wonderful time for those of you who are up for a kind of chilly challenge. You can bring all your gear up and go for a really epic adventure up in the Blue Ridge Mountains. That's going to be awesome. We're going to have Connect Up come out again March 29th. For those of you who went through it last year, we encourage you to come back, get some more training in that. And those of you who are interested in that, there's going to be information online on that. And then we're also talking about doing an ARC school possibly this spring. And that'll be a 3-month intensive training in all things Cry on the Cry base. You'll be part of our staff team on the base. You'll help us run the base. And we're going to have some epic speakers to be able to come in and train you guys for those who just really want to do this full time. One thing I do want to mention is that we have several staff positions open right now. If you're interested, if you feel a tug to jump on our team, we'd love to hear from you. Specifically, we're looking for a full-time deployment director. We're looking to build out that deployment team. This year we were stretched in terms of our capacity of the amount of people we were sending and the places we were going. We need to build that team out more fully. We're also looking for a base camp director up in the Blue Ridge base. We're looking for somebody who wants to come and help that really just explode in terms of hosting events and training people, and then also just general operations on the base. So we'd love to hear from you. You can email info@cryout.com. Guys, as you know, for those of you who go out in the field, for every single person who goes out, it takes several people behind the scenes to actually make that all happen. So In terms of deployments, it was a wild year. It started off with the wildfires out in Colorado. Many of you went out and deployed. We did ash outs out there and just spiritual emotional care for people who've literally lost everything. We help people collect their belongings and just saw the Lord do amazing things in the midst of that tragedy. The Kentucky floods, we were out on that one. And then February 24th, Russia invaded Ukraine. And that was the big one this year in terms of our response. Many responders ended up deploying to that. We've poured a ton of resources into that. And we were able to minister to a lot of people and just really share the love of God in such a desperate, traumatic situation. And I'm going to share more on Ukraine in just a moment. In terms of some opportunities and some projects that we have coming up and what we're going to be doing in Ukraine moving forward. Then we had the Baltimore outreach, and we went out into the inner city of Baltimore, worked with Jay Baylor. That was an incredible opportunity. And then we had a team go to Nepal. And for those of you who are interested in that, we've had a heart for Nepal ever since we went on the earthquake years ago. And we've been wanting to do, a high altitude hike excursion and bringing the gospel to very remote places. We had a small team go back. They did that. If you're interested in that, we're going to be taking another trip this fall. Go ahead and email deployment@cryout.com and say, hey, put my name on the list. I'm interested in being a part of that team. We're going to start putting together a team for that as well. Obviously, Hurricane Ian down in Southwest Florida. That was, wow, what an incredible deployment that was in terms of the response from UCry responders, all of our partners who stepped up and donated. I was really invested in that deployment personally. I was able to spend 3 weeks on the ground. We were feeding 1,000 people a day within like the first 2 days. We partnered with a great church down there, Christian Life Fellowship. We brought all of our deployment vehicles down there, all of our trailers. We had mobile hope, prayer and worship going. And it was incredible opportunity to touch people with the love of God. You guys did amazing. I just want to say thank you so much for that. But for me personally, being there on the ground, I got to see you guys in action, and it was just a tremendous opportunity to just kind of get back in the mix. And for those of you who haven't been out on deployment in a while, you kind of forget, why do we do this? And I needed to get my feet on the ground, and it wrecked my heart again. I totally wanted to sign up again. I'm committing to be on as many deployments this year as possible. It was great sleeping on an air mattress, no power, no electricity, out there with my Cry family. And everybody was just absolutely going for it. We had, I think, like 18 baptisms down there, salvations. We had Mobile Hope going. It was an incredible deployment. We had a real traumatic event with Kate getting hit with the Mobile Hope stage door. Could have been really devastating in terms of what could have happened, but we literally experienced a miracle in front of our eyes. As she was airlifted out, literally a couple hours later, she's there on her phone, and just a miraculous turnaround and healing for her in terms of the broken bones, and just the way that family, what an example in terms of walking out challenges, suffering, and difficulty. What a champion family, Kate. We're so proud of you, and we're just so grateful to the Lord for that miracle turnaround. I think it was about 8 days later, she was up walking, and I think now she uses the walker as a way to do dips and exercise. Just absolutely incredible. We ended up going back doing a Thanksgiving outreach. We were able to feed hundreds of more people, reconnect with relationships. And then recently I got to take a trip down to Cuba, partnered with a friend of mine, Leif Hetland, Global Mission Awareness, great friend of mine, and just drawn to that location, and got to minister to a lot of people down there. But some doors have opened up as well. We got to partner. Cry is actually partnering right now with Global Mission Awareness, Leif, and a couple other ministries, and we're building a church down there. And I believe there'll be opportunities for us to send teams down there this year as well. Really incredible opportunities. Stay tuned for more on that. There's some real nuances in terms of deploying to Cuba and what that would look like. So stay tuned. There'll be more on that. But incredible opportunity down there. Beautiful people. So, and then just lastly, just a couple days before Christmas, we had a substantial opportunity to bless a family who had a house fire, lost everything, literally just the shoes on their feet, and but lost their entire house. And Cry was able to bless them just a couple days before Christmas. And so we can't do any of this, guys, without you guys, without your partnership, without volunteers, without donations. But just some quick stats, just to kind of get your mind around some of our impact. We had over 25,000 volunteer hours this year, 275 responders deployed. We served over 15,000 meals, 6,000 volunteer hours on the Cry base. Just those of you who came up to the Cry base and served. And I just want to make a note on that. It's absolutely free. If you want to come to the Cry base, you want to volunteer, you want to come up for a couple of days, a weekend, a month, and volunteer, you can sign up for that online. There's a request form in order to do that application background check, but we're making that absolutely free from here on out for Cry responders, those of you who just want to come check us out and come want to help out. We ashed out 27 homes in Colorado. We had the opportunity over this year to minister literally to 24,000 people in terms of prayer ministry. And what an impact that is, an opportunity to just share the love of God and minister to the deeper needs of individuals. 24,000 people got prayer ministry. We were able to, thank you, Jesus, to literally $777,000 in direct relief impact this year. That was a banner year for us, the greatest impact we've ever had in terms of dollar amount. Absolutely incredible. Thank you again, partners and friends, monthly partners. And then in Ukraine, after all of the immediate urgent response was kind of subsided to a degree, obviously, there's still need on the ground. We kind of transitioned to building shelters. We were able to build 10 temporary shelters on the ground, because of your guys' partnership. We had to put that on hold temporarily just because the ground is frozen, and we'll get back to that in the spring. But something I want to tell you about, which I'm really, really excited about, is personally, I really wanted to do something for kids at Christmas time, and thought I was going to be able to do it right at Christmas. And then as I was just praying about it, I took the trip to Cuba. And when I was down in Cuba, I actually met a pastor in Krakow. He was on the trip, but he was down there with us. And instantly we just bonded. Turned out he was just 2 or 3 doors down from the original church that we partnered with in Krakow when we first got on the ground 5 days after the war began. And this is just going to be an incredible partnership for us moving forward. Anyway, we just sent over $25,000 to Pastor Zebi over there, and we've allocated a bunch of gifts and toys for, obviously age appropriate, from kids from 2 years old to 18 years old. And on January 6th, we're going to be over there on the ground for Orthodox Christmas. And that was the thing that I found out, that we were still going to be able to do a Christmas outreach to kids for Orthodox Christmas. So excited about that. After that, we're going to go and set up, we have meetings set up with pastors, key leaders in different cities in Ukraine. And we're going to be setting up a conference, a one-day seminar to really prepare people in a greater degree for the long haul of being in a theater of war, responding to crisis, reaching the harvest. That's going to be myself. We're going to bring Dr. Mike Hutchings, possibility of Leif Hetland coming with us as well, be praying about that, and maybe 1 or 2 others, Pastor Justin from Morning Star. We want to equip them in the supernatural, equip them in the love and the power of God, heal the trauma, talk about issues like compassion fatigue, and really get behind the church that's going to be there long term, so that we can get them healed up, but really position them for the long haul to be able to reach the harvest. It's incredible, the stories of revival, the stories of salvation that are coming out of there. and all of what the Lord is doing. Pastors and leaders and other missionaries that are there on the ground who have had the opportunity to leave, they said, why would we want to leave? We've waited 20, 30 years for this opportunity. Literally, guys, the harvest is white in Ukraine. And I just want to say this disclaimer in terms of the politics. Some believe that, the U.S. should be involved. Others believe that we shouldn't be involved. We don't care about the politics. If the war was in Russia, we would be in Russia serving the Russians if we could. Obviously, guys, this is about the gospel. It's not about politics. We just want to see people touched with the love and power of God. Real people are dying, and we're just trying to meet those needs any way that we can, present the gospel in such a desperate situation. The other thing we're going to be doing is we're going to go out to, as well, just taking a small team right now, and we're going to kind of reset this deployment, but we've also allocated another $5,000 in IFAC kits, which are tourniquets and bleed stop medical supplies out to the front lines, where this war is still going on, whether we like it or not. I know we're pretty much, many of us are fatigued with watching this unfold. But towns are being liberated and the crisis is ongoing. There's no power there in a lot of places. We're going to be bringing generators and heaters out to some of these newly liberated cities. What an opportunity. And then we're going to reset the deployment and start sending waves in again. So anyway, it's been an absolute year of significant partnerships as well. Amazing partnership with Global Awakening, Morning Star Ministries. We got to partner with YWAM in a significant way in Kyiv. Our teams are deploying over there. The Rock Church San Diego. Some of you, hosted events in different parts of the country this year. We just want to say thank you so much to Cry Responders who have built those bridges with their churches, with their mission pastors, who have invited us in. And then when a deployment happens, we're able to partner with churches whose primary mission isn't disaster relief, disaster response, but they want to see the harvest come in. They want to see their people be effective. Cry is a great place to partner. So again, thank you, Cry Responders, for building those bridges with Cry in your local church. I just want to say thank you so much for our ministry partners, for all who have given, our monthly partners, and a special thanks to our how do I say it, real critical partners who have given to very specific projects. You guys know who you are out there. I'm thinking about some of our partners who helped us to be able to really upgrade a lot of the infrastructure at the Cry mission base. We poured in over $100,000 from direct giving to the Cry base. These are people who, wanted to give to the infrastructure, to the things behind the scenes. They understand that it takes infrastructure to have greater impact. We were able to upgrade the AC and heater units on a bunch of the cabins there. We were able to do a lot of critical repairs on electric and different utilities that we have on the property. We upgraded the kitchen, new stove, dishwasher, and things like that. Things that were just fatiguing our staff at base, broken equipment that we were constantly having to work around. And then obviously we're able to upgrade the Magnolia House, which is the first house, and it's the guest house for our speakers. First house, when you roll onto the property, it was in rough shape. We were able to upgrade the entire outside, put a new roof on, paint, and finally we're going to be able to put windows in here pretty soon. So it's been an incredible year in terms of being able to upgrade the Cry base. When we bought it, it had 3 years of deferred maintenance. But anyway, deployment wise, we're also able to add a 15 passenger van that helps us to tow more vehicles, move more volunteers on the ground. We got the 15 passenger, the Black Stallion van. We love it. We're so grateful again for you guys' partnership. We also got a 65 kW generator. For some of you, you may not know what that means, but that's a big generator on wheels that's going to be able to power a whole base camp, power a whole building. We'll be able to power AC and lights like in a church that lost power. What an incredible game changer this is. Thank you so much for our partners who stepped up and donated towards that as well. We were able to fix trailers. We were able to purchase some real essential items to make our deployments run smoother. And that's really where we feel like we're going this year. It's where I feel like the Lord is leading us in terms of greater capabilities, greater impact. The goal with Cry was never to be a big organization. We actually consider ourselves to be a rather small organization. but our heart is to be effective. Our heart is to touch more people. Our heart is to go out in people's worst moment of pain and be there with the arms of Jesus to hug them, to give them the resources, to take care of their heart. And it takes infrastructure, it takes money, it takes equipment, it takes staff to be able to do that. And we just want to touch more people this year. I remember years ago, Laura and I, we talked about Cry being committed to, staying on track with the values, to keep the Holy Spirit central, not hide him in a broom closet, so to say, or, to compromise on the gospel. And we've never, ever done that in terms of taking corporate sponsorships or government money. This has been grassroots partnerships and partnerships with the church that have helped us to be able to do this. And we said, if that ever changes and we get so big that we lose our roots and we lose our values, we have to have a self-destruct button that we hit that just blows the whole thing up, because we don't want an organization that turns around and is, anti-gospel or anti-Jesus or compromises in those ways for money or influence or power. We don't want any of those things. Matter of fact, in the early days, I remember praying this many times: Lord, don't send the $1 million check. We need to build character. We need to grunt it out. Figure this out, figure out how to do this. We want to pray everything in. And prayed that for years and years. Now that prayer has changed and we're like, Lord, we figured it out. We know how to do this. We've been through the hard times. We've built character. Lord, send the $1 million checks. We need the resources because we just want to mobilize this amazing family, these amazing values and the power and the love of God to the darkest situations around the earth. It's so hard at times when we don't have the money or we don't have the people to deploy to certain situations. So that's our heart moving forward in this year. So this year, we really want to expand our capabilities. One of the things I'm dreaming about, which would be a game changer for those of you who have been out on deployment, to have the ability to have a deployment trailer that was capable, outfitted with washer machines and showers and bathrooms. We got one designed. We have an estimate for it. It's only $40,000 to build something like that. Wouldn't that be a game changer for our responders to have a place to wash their clothes, to shower, and then also to open that up to people in a neighborhood that we're loving on and working with, to make that as a resource and be incredible, incredible resource. The other thing that we really need is a skid steer, a bobcat, to be able to remove debris, clear roads, to be able to get into areas that are, cut off by, down trees or debris in the road after a hurricane or a flood. And then also to be able to use that to put forklifts, forks on the front of that to be able to unload tractor trailers. That pops up on just about every major deployment where we're scrambling to try and rent a forklift or get a forklift donated to us. We could buy one of those for about $45,000, $50,000, a good used one. And so, we also need to add a couple of deployment vehicles. As we're getting more trailers, we need more vehicles. You guys have probably seen the emails or the text requests. Hey, anybody have a truck to pull a trailer? We want to change that, where we have enough vehicles to be able to tow the trailers, to go out and meet the needs, when these arise. And these types of things, they need to happen ahead of time. So when the deployments happen, when the crisis happens, we're already geared up, we're ready to go. We have the equipment and we're rolling down the road. And, our deployment team has worked so hard. We've gotten it down now to where we can roll out in about 2 hours time with our equipment from the Blue Ridge base. And so, the other thing we also need to do is we actually need to bring on more staff. We also need to hire some more professional staff. Guys, where we want to go, we just feel like it's going to take talent, more talent, to be able to fill these gaps as we expand and as we grow. And just be praying about that and be asking the Lord, how does Cry get the people that they need to be able to move forward? But we really feel like we need to be able to compensate the people with the right skills for the right job. And so, Laura and I, as we've just talked about this, and as we're thinking about how do we grow, how do we go to the next level this year, but still keep it as a Cry family, because we have the most amazing tribe. You folks out there who are willing to put your hand out, volunteer in a moment of crisis, to run into the burning building, so to say. You guys are the most amazing people in the world. the most generous people in the world, the most giving, the most sacrificial people. And guys, in terms of world events and crisis on the world stage and the escalation of the types of events that we're seeing, it's going to require radical sacrifice, radical giving, radical generosity to be able to reach the harvest. Guys, Matthew 24, it says it, that the Great Commission is fulfilled in the context of wars, rumors of wars, famines, earthquakes, pestilence. It's these sorts of things, and that's our heart. That's where we want to go. That's what we want to do. And, just a couple of nights ago, in my sleep, I had a dream, and the Lord spoke to me. I heard the voice of the Lord. It came to me, and he just said, Sean, it's time to call the sons and the daughters. And we're looking for those ones, those confident ones, those ones who are confident in love, who know that they're God's beloved sons and daughters, who want to go out to the darkest corners of the earth and call in the orphans and call them in and bring them into family. And this takes radical generosity, radical love. That's what the kingdom looks like. The world looks like how much can we get? How much can we possess? In the kingdom, it's how much can we give away? How much can we lay down our lives? How far will you let me go, God, to the darkest corners of the earth for the sake of the gospel? That's our heart. And so it almost brings me to tears just saying it, because I just so love this tribe and I so love this commission that God's given us. What a privilege and an honor of what we do, and to run with you guys in this year. And guys, who knows what the Lord's going to bring this year? Who knows what the Lord's going to be calling us to and the levels of crisis situations that we might see. But I know we got an army out there that's willing to stand up. We just want to expand our capabilities to be able to touch more people. And so, one of the other things I just want to say this is, God, the heart of God, the agape love of God. God so loved the world that he gave. He gave his only begotten son. We just passed Christmas. And that's what this season is all about. And that's where I want to go this year. How much can I give away? How much can I love? How far can I go? And, we got to take that love to the hardest and the darkest places together. And just quick word on this as well. This happens on, the big deployments that we go on, especially internationally. Those of you who have a heart to plant long-term, who want to stay and love on people that we're working with longer term, it's been Cry's vision for years to plant full-time missionaries. So if you go out on deployment with us and you want to stay, you feel like the Lord's calling you maybe to plant long-term in Ukraine or, who knows where else. We just want to do it with you guys. We want to support you. We want to pray with you. You could raise support through us. We want to bless you. We want to encourage you. We want to do it together with you, because that's what families do. They multiply and they give away. That's what healthy families should look like, is there's always multiplication. The family is growing. And that's our heart. And so I just want to say that to those of you who have a heart to maybe plant this year as deployments come up, or those of you who want to go to Ukraine long term. Let's do this together. We want to be there for you. We want to back you. The other thing I want to say is this, is, the Lord showed us years ago, showed Laura and I, that there was going to come a time in years ahead that different streams in the body of Christ, that Cry was going to bring together different critical values from the prayer movement, values from the missions movement, values from the revival movement, and values from the prophetic movement. And when these streams came together, that it was going to be a time for setting aside the childish things and doing things in an infantile way or in a small way. And there was going to be this great convergence, and there was going to be a mighty move of God. And we believe that time of convergence is right now. We're seeing these streams together in terms of these partnerships that we've had this year, and those different streams coming together in different venues. It's been miraculous. It's like a dream fulfilled. And we're asking the Lord, what does that convergence look like? What does it look like to bring Cry to the next level? Again, it's not about big. It's about bringing the gospel to more people, to touching more people, to training more people, to mobilizing more people, to more critical, urgent needs in a quicker fashion. One of the ways that we've just been, stirred in our hearts, I live in the Charlotte Fort Mill area, and I've just had this sense, just, Laura and I were gatherers, and we just feel like it's a time of gathering again. We feel that anointing coming upon us where just on a regular basis, we've been gathering people to our home, casting vision. And one of the things that we feel in terms of the next level of where we need to go is we feel logistically it makes a lot of sense to move our deployment gear and our warehousing to the Charlotte area. There's an international airport here. It's a big city. It's one of the biggest airport hubs. Just think about it in terms of this when we're sending teams internationally in terms of waves, a place that's easier for people to converge where it's just one flight rather than two flights, have them overnight, and then have a warehouse full of gear, medical supplies, domestic deployments where, we're looking right now for a warehouse in the Charlotte area, Fort Mill area, to where we can house all of our deployment trailers. They're just, they're getting weathered out in the elements, and to have a proper warehouse with pallet racking and forklifts, and I'm talking like next level with semi-loads of goods coming and going that we could resource the needs of people in the midst of crisis, even resource other ministries. And so we're asking that question, what does it look like to go to the next level in 2023? And then also move our administrative headquarters here to the Charlotte area and have a fully functioning professional grade team, world-class team that could run cry operations at a completely different level. I mean, our team has done amazing, but it's been difficult. I'll just be honest, it's been difficult in getting full-time people up into a remote area at the Cry base, but it's also been disruptive in terms of to base life, the deployments, and then the administrative load. And what we want to do is we want to separate these two things. So deployment and the admin arm is here in a professional setting, in a warehouse setting, a gathering location, where it could be a hub for deployments and administration. And then the base actually becomes a place of rest. It's a place for longer term schools. It's a place for member care. It's a place where that we can, it's a more restful environment in the mountains, a place of refuge, if we will. We want to build out the farm. We want to build out our schools, and just separate those two things, to have them separate somewhat independently of each other, but together moving forward. And this is where we feel like the Lord's taken us this year. And so we just want to kind of throw that out there to you. And, maybe you're hearing or seeing the same thing. We'd love to hear from you. Or maybe some of you have resources or assets that you could think of that might be a good fit for Cry here in the Charlotte area. We're just praying about this, but we're feeling stirred about this right now. And so, but I just want to say this, guys, and just coming in for a landing here, I just want to ask you, please get involved. Maybe you've been on the sidelines for a period of time. Guys, this is what the great harvest looks like. It's wars, famines, earthquakes, great deception, incredible challenges, lawlessness filling the earth. But guys, this is where it's time for us to stand up and to shine with the light of the gospel to the utter ends of the earth. And so please be praying for us. You may want to consider a year-end gift. There's a lot of places that you can give. Pray and just ask the Lord, what can I do to partner with Cry? What can I do to partner with this vision this year? How do I get my friends and family trained? Ask God, God, what am I to do this year? Maybe you want to join our team. Maybe you want to join our staff. Maybe you want to get your church involved. Maybe you need to talk to your missions pastor and say, hey, I got this great organization that trains and mobilizes people to disaster situations around the world. Let's get connected with them. Or it might be a great place for your church to partner with financially in terms of, missions. And so anyway, I just want to say God bless you guys. Please stay connected with us. If you aren't on our Telegram page, that's a place that we regularly communicate with people. Also on our Cry Responder page. If you don't know how to get there, just send an email to info@criout.com. We'll get you connected. But we would love to hear from you guys. We'd love to hear about events that you would love to do, maybe deployment ideas or ways that you guys think that we can grow in 2023. But we want to do this together. I just want to say thank you so much for all your partnership in 2022. And I look forward to seeing you guys out in the field in 2023. Thank you so much, and God bless you guys.